X-Men 97 is returning, so dust off that Fox Kids Club card because I've got my thoughts on the first few episodes right now. Hello everybody, I'm Dan Murrell here with a review of the first 4 episodes of X-Men 97 Season 2. The new season premieres on Disney Plus July 1st, and I got a chance to get a sneak peek at these first episodes. Of course, I will be sharing my thoughts, and while I won't be going into deep spoilers, I will talk about the basic outline and premise of the season, so proceed with the proper caution. This is the second season of Marvel's revival of the popular X-Men, the animated series, which aired on Fox in the 90s, continuing that show's storylines and using many of the same voice actors. It's been over 2 years since the initial 10-episode run of X-Men 97 wrapped up. While original creator Beau DeMayo was fired from the show before the first season debut, he'd already completed work on scripting Season 2 and is credited on the episodes I was able to watch. If you missed my thoughts on the first season of X-Men 97, what I'll briefly say is that I thought it was some of the best X-Men storytelling we've gotten so far, worthy of taking the mantle of the 90s series, which was a massive influence on me and my interest in X-Men and comics in general. I also admired that it wasn't afraid to go darker, a constraint that the original show did have due to its presence as part of a network TV Saturday morning animation block. After watching these first 4 episodes, I'm happy to say that I enjoyed them about as much as I enjoyed the first season. It continues the series' ability to capture the spirit of the 90s animated show while aging it up just enough to grow with its core audience, folks like me, without alienating younger audiences who might want to tune in. Part of this consistency may have to do with some of the core creative team from the 90s show, including Larry Houston and Eric and Julia Lewald, being bumped up from consulting producers in Season 1 to executive producers in Season 2. The end of Season 1 saw the X-Men scattered across time by an entity unknown, with half of the team stranded in the year 3960 and the other half stranded in Egypt in the year 3000 BC. This is where Season 2 picks up with X-Men Bishop and Forge working in the 90s to figure out how to bring all of them home. Now, instead of trying to juggle all of these stories and eras simultaneously, Season 2 takes them on mostly one at a time. The first episode deals with the future, the third and fourth episodes deal with the past, and the second episode shakes things up with a really fun story set in the 90s, which is the show's present, that I think will especially delight fans of that era's family of X comics. As teased at the end of Season 1, Season 2 also largely deals with Apocalypse, the first mutant to ever exist, and perhaps the X-Men's toughest opponent. The Apocalypse story is tackled most directly in the 2 episodes we spend in ancient Egypt, where Apocalypse, then known as In-Sabanur, encounters the stranded X-Men prior to his rise to near godhood. Can they alter events to prevent the rise of their greatest enemy? Apocalypse is also a presence in the future episode, which kicks off the season, but that one is more focused on Nathan Summers, aka Cable, and his relationship with his parents, Cyclops and Jean Grey, who find themselves acting as mentors to their young son and struggling with whether or not to tell him that they're actually his parents. Because I was only able to view the first few episodes of the season, I'm sure that any potential reunion of all of the X-Men is being held back for the latter half, but this didn't feel like filler or spinning wheels. I thought that each episode was good individually while also building towards something bigger. However, if you have individual X-Men who are your favorites, you might be disappointed that they mostly don't appear in the episodes that don't focus on their timelines. There's very little crossover between eras. What I like about this approach is that limiting the focus of each episode allows the show to go deeper on a character level, delivering some great moments like an exploration of the ongoing trauma inflicted on the Summers family, or a discussion between Rogue and Apocalypse on the destructive nature of love, or maybe the best example ever of exactly what Jubilee brings to the table with the X-Men. These episodes are telling a story, but they don't forget to develop the characters in that story, which is one reason why the 90s show was so popular to begin with. This show is pulling from a deep well of 90s comic book lore, but so far it doesn't seem to be a straight adaptation of any one storyline, but an advancement of the show's major storyline. So far, X-Men 97 is not tackling the Age of Apocalypse or anything else with the depth that we saw with the original series take on, let's say, the Dark Phoenix saga or Days of Future Past. There are a lot of news stories launched in the first 4 episodes, but Season 2 also doesn't forget about the events of Season 1. The mutant massacre on Genosha still hangs in the air, particularly in the psyche of Magneto, who has joined Professor X in trying to devise a possible future where humans and and mutants can coexist. And the death of Gambit is also still very relevant, with some hints that there are plenty of turns yet to come in the aftermath of his sacrifice on Genosha. The voice work, considering that so many cast members from the original series have returned, is as strong as you'd expect, although I'm still not a huge fan of Ross Marquand's Professor X. He has the tone of Cedric Smith's original voice work, right? But I'm not crazy about his delivery. He is a very talented actor, though. Also, someone in the casting department seems to be a huge Star Trek The Next Generation fan. That's an easy way to my heart, because the first 4 episodes feature guest appearances from Gates McFadden, Michael Dorn, and Q himself, John Delancey, in a role with some very intriguing possibilities. While the voices and general style may be throwbacks to the 90s, advances in animation allow for X-Men 97 to do things that the original show couldn't do. For example, there are 3 versions so far this season of the iconic opening credits of the show, customized to the mutants who appear in each episode, and they're packed with fun details like Wolverine's claws looking and sounding like bone after the adamantium was removed from his body at the end of Season 1. Episode 2's intro makes some particularly fun changes that animation budgets in the 90s would not have made possible, so don't skip over the main titles, which I hopefully shouldn't have to say anyway, because even in their unaltered form, the opening credits to X-Men are already awesome. While the credits remain great across both shows, one thing that sets X-Men 97 wholly apart from the 90s show is its ability to use the full catalog of Marvel characters, and there are several fun cameos, some of them coming via Morph's ability to turn into anybody. I also like the show's nods to elements that have made an appearance in the MCU. While this isn't set in the same universe as the movies, there are multiversal echoes that are consistent with the films and are a lot of fun to spot. I found these first 4 episodes just as exciting as the ones from Season 1, and I'm very much anticipating the chance to see the rest once they start airing on July 1st, though the weekly release schedule probably means I'm going to have to wait a little bit longer to see new episodes. I think it's a great start to this second season, and with a 3rd and 4th season reportedly already in production, hopefully they can keep the quality up for this show for the rest of Season 2 and beyond. So on my personal rating scale, I'm giving X-Men 97 Season 2 a high rating in the it's good range pending the rest of this season. Should the storytelling remain at the level I've seen so far, it could easily move up into see it now territory. So those are my thoughts on the initial episodes for X-Men 97 Season 2. What do you think? Are you excited to make a return to the 90s and to this world of X-Men? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, stay tuned right here for the latest in movie news, reviews, box office, and more. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Bye.